There was no pomp and circumstance, only a few people boarding the Lisa Marie to make it sail final. The plane that Elvis named after his daughter, along with Elvis's four-engine jet, the Jetstar, have been sold to a company in Dallas, Texas for about $2.5 million.
Elvis Presley, the plane that became a legend. This is the story of the Lisa Marie, Elvis Presley's private jet, a flying palace that reflected his fame, his generosity, and his solitude. Unlike any ordinary aircraft, it was a place where every detail spoke of luxury, identity, and escape. Every seat, every gold-plated fixture, every plush carpet was carefully chosen to serve a man who was constantly watched, constantly adored, yet often profoundly alone. For Elvis, the Lisa Marie wasn't just a plane. It was a refuge, a sanctuary above the clouds, where the world below couldn't reach him. Today, we step inside, into the very heart of the king's private world, and see the man behind the legend. Number 6. The Sight Majestic Arrival. The first glimpse of the Lisa Marie is unforgettable. Resting on the tarmac, the Convair 880 appears massive, elegant, and commanding, its polished body catching the light like a monument rather than an aircraft. The name Lisa Marie, painted boldly along the fuselage, instantly personalizes the grandeur of father's devotion displayed on a global scale. Its size alone sets it apart from surrounding planes, signaling power, influence, and exclusivity before it ever leaves the ground. Even in stillness, the jet feels alive with presence. There is a quiet awe in its arrival, as if the plane carries an invisible weight of history. It doesn't simply land, it announces itself. The wide wings, long frame, and commanding stance mirror Elvis Presley himself, larger than life, impossible to overlook, yet somehow distant from the world around him. To witness the Lisa Marie is to sense the duality of its purpose, a symbol of freedom and control, and at the same time, a reminder of how far removed Elvis had become from ordinary life. Number 5. Why he bought it. Freedom in the sky. The king of rock and roll was no longer able to travel freely by 1975. Fans, cameras, and reporters crowded hotels, airports, and even small towns. Common modes of transportation were no longer private and safe. The Convair 880, which was acquired that year, provided Elvis with a quiet, opulent area where he could travel without being bothered. It was about taking back control of his life, not just comfort. He was able to welcome friends and family without being scrutinized by the public, travel anywhere on his schedule, and momentarily escape the constant pressure of celebrity thanks to the plane. Every flight was a tiny protest against the eyes of the world. In a life that was anything from average, it allowed him to be the guy he wanted to be, unnoticed, unjudged, and for a few priceless hours, ordinary. Number 4. Inside the Sky Palace, luxury and loneliness. Stepping inside the Lisa Marie felt like entering a flying palace designed for absolute comfort. The cabin was lined with plush carpets, velvet seating, and gold-plated fixtures that reflected a soft, warm glow throughout the space. A private lounge invited conversation and relaxation, while the bedroom, complete with a full-sized bed, offered rest far above the world below. Every detail was carefully chosen, turning the jet into more than transportation. It was a personal sanctuary built to shield Elvis from the chaos that followed him everywhere on the ground. Yet beneath the elegance, a quiet loneliness lingered. The lavish space was often too large for the few passengers it carried, and the silence between flights could feel heavy. The same luxury meant to bring comfort also magnified isolation, emphasizing the distance between Elvis and ordinary life. Surrounded by beauty and wealth, he was still alone with his thoughts. Inside the Sky Palace, the contrast became unmistakable. A man who had everything the world could offer, yet still searched for peace, connection, and relief from the weight of his own legend. Number 3. People on board, warmth and camaraderie. When the Lisa Marie was filled with people Elvis trusted, the jet transformed completely. His inner circle, known as the Memphis Mafia, along with close family members and lifelong friends, brought warmth and life into the cabin. Laughter echoed through the aisles, stories were shared freely, and music often played without any pressure to perform. In this private space, Elvis could relax, joke, and simply exist as him, rather than as a global icon. The plane became a moving sanctuary where loyalty mattered more than fame, and companionship softened the isolation that followed him everywhere else. These moments of camaraderie were deeply important to Elvis. Surrounded by people who knew him before the legend, the jet felt less like a symbol of power and more like a shared home in the sky. Long flights turned into late-night conversations, quiet bonding, and fleeting moments of normalcy. Within the walls of the Lisa Marie, fame was temporarily left on the ground. What remained was connection, human, imperfect, and genuine, offering Elvis brief relief from the solitude that defined much of his extraordinary life. Number 2. Silent flights, health and isolation. As the years passed, the atmosphere aboard the Lisa Marie grew noticeably quieter. What was once filled with conversation, laughter, and music slowly transformed into long stretches of silence. Elvis's declining health began to shape the rhythm of these flights, many of them taking place late at night, away from public view. The jet became less a place of celebration and more a moving sanctuary, carrying a man who was increasingly exhausted by the weight of fame and physical struggle. High above the world, the silence inside the cabin mirrored the isolation Elvis felt in his final years. The contrast was striking and deeply emotional. Surrounded by gold-plated luxury and plush comfort, Elvis often traveled in solitude or with only a few trusted companions. The grandeur of the jet could not mask the vulnerability of its owner. Each silent flight reflected a growing distance, not just from fans, but from the life he once lived. The Lisa Marie still offered escape, but it also became a space of reflection, where fame could not follow, yet loneliness remained. In the quiet hum of the engines, the king was no longer performing. He was simply human, alone with his thoughts, drifting through the sky. Number 1. After Elvis' legacy on display. After Elvis Presley's death, the Lisa Marie was not sold, scrapped, or forgotten. Instead, it was permanently placed at Graceland, transforming from a private aircraft into a powerful historical artifact. Resting silently on the grounds, the jet now stands as a frozen moment in time, no longer flying through the sky, yet still carrying the emotional weight of Elvis's final years. For fans, walking up to the plane feels deeply personal. This was not a stage or a performance space, it was Elvis's refuge, a place where he escaped the pressures of fame. Its presence at Graceland allows visitors to step closer to the private world of a man whose public life was endlessly exposed. Inside, the jet feels intimate and human rather than extravagant. The gold-plated fixtures, plush seating, and private bedroom remain just as Elvis left them, creating the sense that time has paused. Visitors move through the cabin quietly, aware they are standing in a space where Elvis rested, traveled, and found brief moments of peace. The Lisa Marie is more than a plane. It is a testament to a life both extraordinary and human. It reminds us that behind every legend is a person, seeking moments of joy, reflection, and escape. If you've enjoyed this journey into Elvis's private world, subscribe for more stories that reveal the hidden lives of legends. Like, share, and step closer to history, one story